Hey everyone, in this episode, my goal is to show you how to kickstart your MVP development. And I want to do that by breaking down the reasoning behind the architecture and tech stack that I've chosen to build Apptrout's case study, the freelancing and jobs platform that I'm building. So let's dive right in. So I like to start the process by thinking about the users. How will they access the application and from where? For access, they can simply go to fullstackengineering.io. And we know that our client users will mostly be in the United States, and our engineering talent, while global, will largely come from South Asia. So to keep latencies low and performance high, we need to deploy the web app across different regions. This is where our cloud native architecture comes into play. By building and running apps in the cloud, we ensure that it's fast, reliable, and scalable no matter where our users are. When it comes to choosing a cloud provider, the big three are AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. For this project, we're going to be going with Google Cloud. Why? Because we're building a data-centric platform, and it's going to evolve into using AI and machine learning. Plus, it integrates seamlessly with the set of technologies and tools that we'll be using. So our tech stack is built around Next.js, a framework built on top of React, which is the go-to JavaScript library for building user interfaces. Next.js enhances React with features that make it ideal for production-ready apps. It runs on Node.js, has great support for TypeScript, and that means we're basically writing code in JavaScript and TypeScript, but here's the deal. We're running Next.js, which bundles the front end and back end into one deployable unit, making it technically a monolithic framework. So you might be thinking, wait a minute, didn't you say we're going cloud native? And doesn't that usually mean microservices? And you'd be right. When we're talking about cloud native, microservices architecture is a core component. But here's why that's okay. Right now, we're just building the MVP. And if you're working alone or on a small team, microservices just adds unnecessary complexity. And for the MVP, keeping things simple is usually the right approach. Microservices are fantastic when you have a large team or you have multiple teams working together, and that's when the overhead is worth it. That said, even though Next.js is a monolith, we're still getting all the cloud native benefits we need. We're going to containerize our Next.js application with Docker, and then have Google Cloud build an image, and then push it to the container registry. And then finally, we'll deploy the app to Google Cloud Run, which is a serverless platform. This setup gives us the best of both worlds: portability, scalability, and isolation, while keeping our development process smooth and manageable. And the best part is that as our platform grows beyond the MVP, we can easily transition into more advanced architectures. We can shift to using microservices, where we use Next.js only for the front end by breaking up the backend into independently deployable services. We can even adopt an event-driven architecture for real-time responsiveness. And with tools like Google Cloud Functions and PubSub, we can decouple our application, we can make it more scalable and agile as our user base expands. Basically, our infrastructure should be able to evolve easily with the growing needs of our platform. In the beginning of the video, I talked about deploying the web app across different regions. So to ensure top performance from the start, we're using a global HTTP load balancer. It basically routes user requests to the nearest available instance. Also, with just a few clicks, you can easily enable a CDN so that static assets like images, CSS, and JavaScript are distributed globally across Google's edge locations. This basically means that the assets will be served from the closest spot to the user, dramatically improving load times and overall experience. This setup is particularly powerful for Next.js, delivering static and server-rendered content almost instantly, perfect for landing pages, blogs, and content that doesn't change often. So finally, we're up to user authentication, and to stick to the theme of keeping things simple, we're using Firebase Auth. It manages sessions with a stateless JSON web token. This means that we don't have to worry about session affinity, and any server instance can handle the requests, allowing the load balancer to distribute the traffic freely. And last but definitely not least, we are using Firebase Firestore for our database. It offers real-time syncing, has sufficient querying capabilities that we need to search for jobs and talent using multiple filters, all while keeping the infrastructure serverless and easy to manage. Okay, so that wraps up today's episode. I want to thank you for sticking around. I hope that you were able to get some value or some insight that you can use in your own project. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next one.